What's going on, everybody? This is Brian from SneakerFiles.com, and today we're going to do a different type of video. But before we get into things, like always, greatly appreciate a thumbs up. And if you're new here, subscribe by hitting the button below. We're almost at 167,000 subscribers. I would love to hit 175K before the year is over. So just want to say I appreciate you guys for hitting the like button, being subscribed. Shout out to all the OGs and shout out to all the new subscribers. Now, for this video, I am going to go over all of the 2025 Air Jordan releases. However, it will only be OG colorways, samples that are returning, PEs that are now releasing, or older retros. This will also include reimagined pairs, and what I mean by older retros is, for example, the Melo 12 was released in 2004 and now those are returning. That's a prime example. Now, I'm going to give you all the information that I know, and I'll run down a little bit of history on each shoe. And now with that out of the way, let's get into this video. So the first pair that we're going to go over that is confirmed and we have a release date for is the Air Jordan 1 High 85 Bred. A lot of people have been asking for this colorway to arrive on the High 85, and it's finally going to happen in February. This pair will be part of Jordan Brand's NBA All-Star Weekend collection, and the best part about this shoe is that it's going to be the closest to the original shape since it's on the 1985 iteration. Also, they're going to be making some improvements to the model. The overall shape will be adjusted and even closer compared to past High 85 pairs. As well, I've heard that they're going to make them more comfortable. Now, I don't know what exactly that entails at this moment, but I'm definitely a fan of making the ones more comfortable. Personally, when I wear mine, at first they're cool, but then over time, they're not very comfortable to me. But for those that don't know, this pair has released a ton of times in the past. At one point, they were being called banned because there was a rumor that these were the shoes that were banned by the NBA. However, it was actually the Jordan Air Ship that was banned. But Nike ran with the marketing, which led the Air Jordan 1 to sell a lot of pairs back in the 80s. And for those that don't know, this pair actually dropped originally in 1985. We saw a first retro take place in 1995. A lot of people have it labeled as 1994. However, it has recently been debunked that it was 1995, not 1994. And that is due to the production dates. Now, I don't own the 1995 pair, but what I was told is that the production dates, there's no way possible that Jordan Brand could produce the shoes, ship them, and then the retailers release them in time in 1994. We saw another retro take place in 2001. And then in 2008, Jordan Brand released the Bred colorway on an Air Jordan 1, but this time it had a strap. In 2011, Jordan Brand released what is still referred to as the Banned Air Jordan 1. That shoe features an X on the insoles and some special graphics on the liner, and that pair went straight to outlets, and the reason for that is because Jordan Brand actually got the date wrong on the insoles. We saw another release take place in 2013, and then in 2016, we saw the Air Jordan 1 High OG Bred release, which is probably one of the better releases to date. Personally, I'm more of a fan of the 2011 pair. I think the quality on that is great. We also saw a satin pair debut, and it was limited to 501 pairs. That took place in 2016, but as you know, Jordan Brand GR'd the shoe, and it was a women's exclusive in 2023. There was also a Flyknit version, and then the last pair I'm going to speak about to feature the Bred color blocking is the Bred patent, which is part of Jordan Brand's Reimagined series. So the shoes are expected to have more pairs available compared to past Air Jordan 1 High 85 releases. It should be on the GR side, at least that's what I heard early on. Like you guys know, things do change, and it should be a GR. They know it's going to be hyped. A lot of people are going to want them. And as for the release date, this pair will drop on February 14th, and the retail price will be $200. So as I mentioned, I will be including reimagined pairs part of this video, and the second pair to actually have a release date for now is the Air Jordan 5 Black Metallic Reimagined. So in this video, there's only two pairs that have specific release dates. I believe there's another two pairs that have the months, and then other than that, we just have the season. So what's interesting is that originally this was supposed to be an OG pair, but then Jordan Brand switched it up, and now it will be part of the Reimagined series. So what will be reimagined about this shoe? Well, as you can see in the first image, the overlays, those will feature 3M reflective detailing. The tongue is still expected to feature 3M, but what we recently found out is the Nike Air on the heel will also have 3M reflective detailing. Now, I believe this is the first time that Jordan Brand will put 3M reflective on the Nike Air branding on the heel. I believe somebody stated in my last video that the Air Jordan 4 Neon featured 3M reflective, and that's true, it did. However, it was the whole heel tab. So this will be the first time that the actual branding will feature 3M. I don't know if that's a huge difference or not. And the other part about the shoe being reimagined is that it'll come with white laces to resemble that of MJ's PE. Now, that isn't a big issue if you're not a fan of the white laces. Personally, I am. You could just switch that out. Now, I don't know if they will come with a second set of laces. That hasn't been confirmed just yet. And as for the overall build and everything, from what I'm being told is that it'll still feature nubuck and all the good stuff. But again, things can change. And the only difference that is confirmed so far is the 3M reflective in the white laces. I know a lot of people wanted the OG pair to return, and I feel like they should have just dropped the OG. I'm not mad at these changes, but I think a lot of us just enjoy the OG look overall. The last time we saw this pair debut was in 2016, so it has been some time since they've dropped, and we have the Air Jordan 4 White Cement returning. That dropped in 2016 for the last time, I believe, as well. So they're giving that the OG treatment. They should have probably just gave these, but that's besides the point. Just to run down a little bit of history, this pair originally dropped in 1990. We saw the first retro take place in the year 2000. The OG pair and the 2000 pair had Nike Air branding. And then we saw a release in 2007 and 2011. Those two releases featured a Jumpman on the heel and the number 23 stitched on the lateral side. So this pair will debut on February 15th. And the retail price will be $220. I know some people commented in previous videos that Jordan Brand wouldn't release two great shoes back to back. Traditionally, yes, but for All-Star Weekend, they're known to do that. I know there's a lot of people excited for this pair, and it's the Air Jordan 3 Black Cat. So originally, these were supposed to release in 2024. However, Jordan Brand decided to switch things up, and instead of dropping the Black Cat Air Jordan 3 during the holiday 2024 season, they decided to bring out the Air Jordan 3 Black Cement. Now, in my opinion, I have no issues with that. And there was a moment that some people were reporting that the Black Cat Air Jordan 3 was scrapped. That wasn't true at all. So when I initially received that information that the Black Cement Air Jordan 3 was going to debut instead of the Black Cat 3, right off the bat, I was told that the Black Cat 3 has been pushed till spring 2025. And then a lot of other publications started to run with the Black Cat 3s were scrapped. In fact, some even stated that they were never planned. Turns out they were wrong once again. If you know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to give them any shine in this video or any of my videos, but yes, the shoes will debut. Initially, it was said spring 2025. We have drilled down a month, which is March, but like always, things can change. It could be pushed forward or back. And this isn't an OG colorway, but it is an older retro. So the shoes were originally released on June 16th, 2007. At that time, the retail price was $125. Man, I wish Jordan Brand brought us back to those retail prices in the mid to early 2000s. For the 2025 pair, they're going to retail at $200. Back then, this pair came with a retro card. Unfortunately, I highly doubt this pair is going to feature a retro card. It would be nice if it did, though. Definitely would be a nod to the mid-2000s. Especially since they're bringing so many shoes back, and it looks like they're celebrating the 40th anniversary of when the Air Jordan line started. Like, bring these little things back. especially if we're paying $200, but that's just my opinion. Now, this pair will debut in full family sizing. Now, just going back, it's not confirmed if the Bred Air Jordan 1 High 85 will release in full family sizing, nor is it confirmed that the Black Metallic Reimagined will, but more than likely the Black Metallic Reimagined will. I can't confirm about the High 85 yet. So March 2025 is when they're going to release. The retail price will be $200 in men's. Grade school will cost $150. Preschool is priced at $90, and toddler sizes will cost $75. So February will have a couple good releases. March will have at least one good release. Nothing confirmed for April yet, but for May, we have the return of the Air Jordan 4 White Cement. Super excited about this pair returning. They last dropped in 2016, and this is one of 4 original colorways of the shoes. So it was originally reported that the shoes would be reimagined. However, I received confirmation that the shoes won't. Again, it's very possible that things could change. They always do. We've seen it on several shoes, and a few of those I'm going to talk about in this video. But yes, this pair is returning in the OG mold. The overall shape should resemble that of the Nike SB Air Jordan 4 Pine Green, which they went back to get the original mold. So I think that's absolutely dope. Also, this pair will feature Nike Air branding. Some people had asked about that, and it is an OG shoe. Anytime that Jordan brand brings out an OG, it will feature Nike Air branding. And looking at the comments and what people are talking about, this might be the #1 release of 2025. Now, again, we all have our own opinions, but just going over the comments and what people are saying, it appears that this is the #1. Now, if I'm wrong on that, you can always drop a comment below. Let me know what's your #1. So this pair has released a handful of times. They first dropped in 1989, one of 4 original colorways, and then we saw the first retro take place in the year 1999. That pair was definitely nice. However, there's no way you can wear them anymore. The midsoles on most of them have crumbled. And then we saw another release take place in 2012. Unfortunately, that pair featured the Jumpman on the heel. People were a little bit upset at the time, but they still sold out. And then the last time we saw the shoes release was in 2016. In 2016, the pair featured Nike Air branding. So the real difference between the 2016 pair and the 2025 will be the shape. Like I mentioned, it will be closer to the 1989. What Jordan Brand is doing on some of these Air Jordan 4s that we're seeing now will be applied to this shoe. Which, honestly, that's enough for me to pick up another pair. I own the 2012, the 2016, and I will be picking up the 2025. But like I mentioned, May 2025 is when they're expected to release, and the retail price will be $215. Again, more than likely this pair will be available in full family sizing. Okay, so now we're going to move on to seasons. Unfortunately, these upcoming pairs don't have release dates, nor do we have a month. And the first pair I'm going to talk about is the Air Jordan 12 Flu Game. So this was kind of a crazy leak. Months back, I was initially told that the Air Jordan 12 Flu Game was going to release in 2025. You guys already know this. I made the announcement. And then shortly after that, I started hearing rumors that, hey, they're not going to release the Flu Game, but they're going to release a pair known as the Bloodline. I made an announcement. The Flu Game 12 is no longer releasing. Those are scrapped. But instead, Jordan Brand will release the Bloodline Air Jordan 12. There was a mock-up done, and that mock-up that I showed was an accurate mock-up of what's releasing. It was kind of crazy because when I made the announcement, a lot of people were upset about the Flu Game not dropping, but there was a handful of people that were like, hey, the Bloodlines are dope. I'm happy those are coming out. And to me, I was a little shocked, but I always respect it because we all have different tastes. We like what we like, and that's totally fine. And then a couple months after that, or maybe it was a month, I got a message saying, hey, the Bloodlines are now scrapped and the Flu Game Air Jordan 12 is releasing. So what I did is I made a short because that day I wasn't going to do a video just to make the announcement. And at that time, a lot of people were happy, but it seems that more people at this time were upset that the Bloodline was no longer releasing. So as for the Bloodline, it's possible we could see them drop in the future, but at this time there are no plans. So for the flu game, they originally released in 1997, and then we saw a retro release in 2003. We saw another retro take place in 2009, and this is where the flu game nickname really came into play, because prior to this, they were really known as just black and red. The 2009 pair featured a sick emoji, so again referencing the flu game performance. And then towards the hill, we saw 97-98, which was the season that the game took place. Now, I know I've talked about this several times in previous videos, but I feel like I need to bring this up every time. Michael Jordan was playing with an illness, but the story goes that he didn't have a flu, it was a stomach virus. And I know some people are saying, well, the stomach virus is a form of a flu, it's a stomach flu or something along those lines. And I'm not taking away from it, because I know that it's serious when you get a stomach virus or a stomach flu. It's still incredible what he did and how many points he scored and his performance. I guess it's just something to reference, because a lot of people thought he had the flu, and it turns out it was something that he ate, which was pizza the night before. Again, I'm not taking away from his performance, because dropping 38 points, grabbing 7 rebounds and 5 assists while playing 44 minutes and with a stomach virus is crazy. Now, the last time we saw the shoes release was in 2016. Now, for the 2025 release, they're going to drop in spring, which means a release will take place between January and March, and the retail price will be $210. A shoe that I haven't talked about in a while, actually I believe the last time I talked about them was the initial announcement of the return, and that is the Air Jordan 9 Cool Gray. This isn't an OG colorway, but it's definitely an older retro, which first launched in 2002. The last time we saw the pair debut was in 2012, and I gotta be honest with you guys, in 2012, they dropped, and actually around that time frame, they released quite a bit of Air Jordan 9s. Various colorways, some OGs, some pretty dope themes as well, but I hated the shape on them. I feel like Jordan Brand really missed the mark on the shape, and a lot of the shoes in 2012, they didn't look good. Now, I know some people don't really care about that, but I think somebody like me and others who appreciate the OG shape, nice materials, and things like that will find it a little bothersome. Do I own the 2012 pair? Yes, I do. I actually own quite a few pairs of the Air Jordan 9 from that time frame, but that's what we were being offered at the time, so I was buying them. Now, the shape should look like what we saw on the Air Jordan 9 Powder Blue, which returned in March of 2024, so this year. And the shape on those are actually really nice, in my opinion. So this pair is expected to debut in full family sizing, although it's not confirmed. And this pair will drop spring 2025, which means the release will take place between January and March. And the retail price should be $210, but that's not confirmed. It could also be $200. Although this pair is an OG colorway, technically it's not an OG release. However, I decided to add them into the video because it is an OG colorway, like I mentioned, and it will be on the Air Jordan 1 Low 85. So dropping for spring 2025, we have the Air Jordan 1 Low 85 Royal. And the color blocking is an OG colorway, which released in 1985. But the first time that we actually saw a Royal Air Jordan 1 Low release was in 2015. As for the OG Royal pair, aside from the 85, we saw the first retro take place in 2001. We saw another release in 2013. And in 2016, Jordan Brand released the Jordan 1 Ultra High in the Royal theme. In 2017, we saw the Jordan 1 High OG debut, which is the closest to date. Jordan Brand also released an Air Jordan 1 Flyknit. That same year, we saw a very limited Satin Royal debut. And then in 2023, we saw the Royal Reimagined release. And those didn't do well at all. They featured suede, which it seems that a lot of people didn't like it. But I have a feeling these are going to do pretty well since it's on the Air Jordan 1 Low 85. A lot of people liked the overall shape of that shoe. This pair is also going to have a slightly larger swoosh. And the toe box is supposed to resemble that of the OG. The official colorway for this pair is Black, Royal, and Summit White. Spring 2025 is when they're expected to debut, and the retail price will be $160. Now we're moving on to the summer releases, and first up is the recently announced Air Jordan 1 High OG UNC Reimagined. So in Friday's video, I confirmed that the shoes will feature age detailing. Now, what I was initially told is that they'll resemble something like the Lost and Found Air Jordan 1, but there's a possibility that the aged look could look something different compared to the Lost and Found. That shoe featured cracked leather, and it's possible that this pair could not have that. However, I do believe that they will feature a cell midsole because it's in the actual color description, which is dark powder blue in cell. Definitely more details on this pair will be coming soon, but the overall theme will be aged. Again, this is an OG colorway. They first dropped in 1985. We saw another release take place in 2003, but that pair featured patent leather, a plastic wings logo, and the Jumpman on the tongues and heels. In 2015, Jordan Brand released the UNC Air Jordan 1 High OG. That pair was closest to the OG, and from what I can remember, they went on sale. I actually got my pair for pretty cheap. And then the last time we saw it release, or something like it, was a collaboration between Off-White. So for this pair, summer 2025 is when they're expected to release, which means they'll drop between April and June, and the retail price will be $180. Now this pair is definitely dope. We have the release of the Air Jordan 11 Low Bred, which is a PE worn by Michael Jordan during the 1996 NBA Finals. So this isn't an original colorway, although it was a PE for Jordan. It never released in the mid-90s. However, Jordan Brand did release a variation of the Bred Jordan 11 Low in 2015. That shoe featured red on the liner, and digging through pics, that was another PE that Jordan wore. So he wore two versions, one with the black liner, which is shown here, and then another pair with the red liner that was eventually released in 2015. Now we all know this colorway. It's a classic Jordan Brand color scheme, which first landed on the mid-top version. Now that pair has released quite a few times, but for this pair, MJ wore it during the 1996 NBA Finals when the Chicago Bulls played against the Seattle Supersonics and eventually won the series 4-2. Now the pair he wore, he signed them, and they recently went up for auction and sold for almost $44,000. So the overall color blocking will be the same. The images used here expect the pair to look like this. And this shoe is expected to debut summer 2025, which means a release will take place between April and June, and the retail price will be $190. This is another pair that I expect will be available in full family sizing, but I haven't received confirmation. In summer 2025, Jordan Brand will release the Air Jordan 1 High 85 Reverse Shadow. So what makes this pair so special is that it's an original sample and will be released for the first time in the summer. Now, if the pair looks familiar to you, it probably does. Back in 2021, Jordan Brand released the Shadow 2.0 Air Jordan 1 High OG. Now, the color blocking is very similar to the OG sample, but the shade of gray used is a little bit lighter, and the Shadow 2.0 came with nubuck. So the Jordan 1 High 85 will be true to OG form. Not only will we have the new mold, but it'll come constructed with all leather. The official colorway is medium gray, black, and muslin, so the shade of gray used will resemble that of the OG and be slightly darker compared to the Shadow 2.0. And more than likely, it will have an aged midsole due to the fact of muslin used. Now for this pair, they're going to drop summer 2025, which means a release will take place between April and June, and the retail price will be $200. Also returning is the Air Jordan 12 Melo. This is not an OG colorway, but it was released in 2004. So just to run it back, Carmelo Anthony signed with Jordan Brand back in the early 2000s. During that time, he was wearing RETROS. Before he received his first signature shoe, he was playing in the Air Jordan 2 and the Air Jordan 12 a lot. His pairs reflected the Denver Nuggets colors. That's the team he was playing for at the time. And in 2004, we received this pair. So automatically, it was nicknamed Melo. It didn't feature any branding connecting to Melo, but he was a Jordan Brand athlete at the time, and he played for the Nuggets. The colorway matched perfectly. Now, when they initially dropped, they were available in women's sizing. A lot of people were upset at that time. They felt that they should have dropped in men's as well, and eventually Jordan Brand did drop them in men's sizing, to my recollection that is. And then in 2016, we saw a very similar pair debut, but it was a grade school exclusive. They were known as the University Blue Air Jordan 12. It featured the same blocking. However, it appears that the shade on the 2016 pair was a little more vibrant. And then the eyelets on the 2016 pair was gold, and the original pair is metallic silver. So this pair will feature a white, university blue, and metallic silver color combination, and they're going to drop summer 2025, which means the release will take place between April and June, and the retail price will be $200. Before this info actually leaked, maybe 2 months prior, I heard that the shoes were going to return. I couldn't say anything, unfortunately. But yes, the Undefeated Air Jordan 4 will return summer 2025. Now, this shoe was originally released in 2005, so it will celebrate the 20th anniversary between Undefeated and Jordan Brand. And the inspiration for the pair is a MA-1 flight jacket. This is the first time that Jordan Brand collaborated with a boutique, so it's a special pair. And when they originally released, these were very limited. Now, there was around 72 pairs that were available, and the way to obtain them was via an in-store raffle. Undefeated also did an online auction and then gifted friends and family pairs. They also came with unique packaging. It was a collaboration between Undefeated and Encase. They came in a bag and the bag unzipped, and it was pretty cool. Now, I don't expect that to be on the 2025 pair. I personally don't care if it comes with that or not. Now, the overall look should resemble that of the 2005, but Jordan Brand is using a different colorway. The 2025 pair will be deep green, clementine, black, and cell. The original came in olive, oiled green, and flight satin. What's cool about this pair is that it features a removable patch on the tongue. On the patch, we have the Jumpman logo, and then beneath it is Undefeated branding. Undefeated branding is also placed on the inside of the tongue. The 2005 pair featured a Jumpman. More than likely, the 2025 pair will feature that as well. I'm just happy that they're bringing them back, making them more available, and they're going to update the shape. So that's a plus in my opinion. Now, with the recent announcement of this and the Wu-Tang Dunks, it sparked this whole craze about Nike and Jordan Brand opening the vault. A lot of people are upset about it. My whole thought and stance on it is, who cares? I don't care if any of the grails that I own were the high-end shoes, they bring them back. I have a pair of 1985 Air Jordan 1s, the neutral gray colorway. I've owned them for years. When I heard that Jordan Brand was retroing the shoes a couple years back, I didn't care at all. I also have a pair of the Air Jordan 14 UNC Mid. That shoe was reportedly made for UNC players, and then the leftover stock they released on Eastbay. Very limited release, and if Jordan Brand brought those shoes back, I'd be buying 2 of them. So I just say let the people be happy, bring all the classics back, because not everybody owns these shoes. And if you want a new generation of sneakerheads to come and appreciate what was released before they were involved, then just let it happen and stop complaining. But for this pair, summer 2025 is when they're expected to debut, which means the release will take place between April and June, and currently we don't have a retail price. A lot of people have been asking for the return of the Air Jordan 10, and it's finally going to happen in the summer of 2025. Jordan Brand is going to bring back the Still colorway. This will be the 4th time that the shoe's released, but for 2025, they're going to feature the original leather overlay on the toe cap. Now, I know a lot of people are upset about that, and there's still a possibility that could change. Jordan Brand seems to be listening a little bit more to the reactions that people are giving online, and a lot of people aren't happy about this. They're more of a fan of the clean toe cap, and I gotta admit, I'm more of a fan of the clean toe cap as well, but I can appreciate the history behind this. So the 2025 pair will be the 4th time that they release. The original dropped in 1994. Michael Jordan was retired from basketball and he was currently playing baseball, but he would eventually return to basketball and wear this model. Now, to run down the story of the toe cap, while Michael Jordan was away playing baseball, it was rumored that he missed a few meetings with Tinker Hatfield, the designer of the shoes. On previous models, MJ had a lot of input regarding the look and everything like that. And when he finally met up with Tinker, he wasn't happy with the extra piece of leather on the toe. He liked that clean look. A lot of us like the clean look as well. But by this time, it was too late. Nike had already finished the first production run on the still Jordan 10s, and it was released to the public. Now, I've heard some rumors that Nike recalled the shoes. A lot of people didn't send them back. They kept them. But Tinker did eventually make the adjustments and remove the leather for a cleaner look, of course. And then those were eventually released to the public. Now, I believe that the Shadow Air Jordan 10 is another shoe that was a sample that featured the leather on the toe cap, but that was never released. I believe I saw an image somewhere recently on the Chicago 10s featured it too, and that was just a sample. I could be wrong on the colorway, but it was another pair that was outside of the Steel 10s and the Shadows. So we would eventually see another retro take place in 2005, and then the last time we saw the shoes debut was in 2013. Now, I'm a big fan of the Jordan 10. I think Jordan Brand should be releasing more colorways of the shoes. In fact, I feel that they should bring back the Sacramento 10s. I feel like we're eventually going to see those. But one of my favorite parts about the shoes is the accolades on the outsole. Now, as for images in this video, I couldn't find too many clean photos of the Jordan 10 with the leather overlay on the toe cap, so it's going to be a mixture between that and the clean toe cap pair. And as for a release date, unfortunately, we don't have one, but summer 2025 is when they're expected to release, which means they're going to drop between April and June, and currently no retail price. I definitely was happy about hearing that the Air Jordan 8 Aqua would return in 2025. So this is an OG colorway. It was first released in 1993, and this is one of 3 original colorways. So we have the Bugs Air Jordan 8, the Playoffs, which the Playoffs released in 2023. So aside from the 1993 release, the first retro released in 2007. And then the last time we saw the shoes debut was in 2015. A lot of people complained about the 2015 release because it had a lot of glitter on them. Now, when I recently reported on this, I saw some people in the comments saying they didn't mind about the glitter, but I do believe that the 2025 release will have less glitter on them. Now, the colorway is very popular. It has been used across different models. In 2010, Jordan Brand released a fusion model between the Jordan 8 and the Air Force 1, known as the Jordan AJF 8. That featured the Aqua theme. In 2012, Jordan Brand released the Air Jordan 8.0, which resembled that of the Air Jordan 8, but it was different. That came in the Aqua theme. And then another popular shoe was the Air Jordan 6 Aqua, which is inspired by the 8, and launched in 2023. So for the 2025 pair, it'll feature a black, true red, iron gray, bright concord, and aquatone colorway. Now, although I don't have confirmation, these are expected to debut in full family sizing. They'll drop summer 2025, which means a release will take place between April and June, and the retail price will be $210. As most of you know, 2025 will celebrate the 35th anniversary of the Air Jordan 5. So we're going to see a few OG colorways. Well, actually 2 so far. We have the Black Metallic Reimagined, which I talked about earlier in the video, and then we have the Air Jordan 5 Grape. This is, of course, an OG colorway and was originally released in 1990. The first retro took place in 2006, and it was part of Jordan Brand's Lifestyle series. So what that meant was when Jordan Brand released these shoes part of the Lifestyle series, they also dropped matching apparel. The 2006 pair featured a Jumpman, and then we saw another retro take place in 2013, and once again, it featured the Jumpman logo. The last time we saw the Grape Air Jordan 5 debut was in 2018. However, some people call that shoe the Fresh Prince, and it was a special release celebrating Will Smith's 50th birthday. Now, for those who watch The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know that Will Smith wore a lot of Air Jordans, especially the Air Jordan 5. During the episodes when he wore the shoes, he didn't have laces in them. So for the 2018 release, the eyelets, they weren't punched out. So you couldn't lace them up if you wanted to, unless you popped the holes out yourself. Now for 2025, the eyelets will be here, so you'll be able to lace them up. And the pair will feature a white, new emerald, grape ice, and black color combination. Now, the model is supposed to be closer to the OG mold, which of course is a plus, and they will feature the signature Nike Air branding throughout. Again, this won't be a reimagined pair, this will be resembling the OG. And as for a release date, we don't have one, but summer 2025 is when they're expected to debut. And we don't have a retail price, however, more than likely they're going to retail around $220. And they should be available in full family sizing, I just don't have confirmation on that just yet. And that's going to do it for this video. Like always, greatly appreciate you guys for watching. If you have a second and haven't done so already, also appreciate a thumbs up. And if you're new here, subscribe by hitting the button below. One more thing, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to turn on the notification bell so you can be alerted every time I drop a new video. I've actually looked forward to doing this video because in the past I wanted to do something like this just with OG shoes in them that are releasing, but we weren't getting that many OGs every year. 2025 is a different level. We're getting a ton of stuff, so I was able to create this video. And like I mentioned early on, this is one of an ongoing series. Eventually, I'm going to be doing all of 2025 releases, and I'll be doing another video for Nike, and then one for all of them combined. So those are going to be pretty long videos. I don't know how long this is going to be. I feel like it's going to be roughly around 30 minutes or so. We'll see once I get done editing it. And I also plan on dropping a short tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. But for this video, let me know what you liked or disliked down in the comment section below, or let me know your top 3 from this video that you're looking forward to picking up. Again, thanks for watching, stay tuned to SneakerFiles.com, and if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe.